Hey folks, welcome back. In this video we're going to go over 4 worked examples showing you how to do problems involving centripetal acceleration and centripetal force. If you haven't done so already, check out my previous video covering the theory on this topic, and that way you'll be able to apply what you learned in that video to this one. So let's get started. Question 1 says that a car of mass 800 kilograms is travelling round a circular track at 30 meters per second. The track has a radius of 100 meters. Part A says to calculate the centripetal acceleration of the car. So what we need to do is write down what we know from the question first. So we're trying to find the centripetal acceleration AR. We know the linear velocity is 30 meters per second and the radius of the track is 100 meters. So writing down our equation for centripetal acceleration, we have AR equals V squared over R, and then substituting in our numbers, we have 30 squared divided by 100, which when you put into your calculator should give you 9 meters per second squared. Part B says to calculate the centripetal force. So writing down what we know from the question again, we're trying to find the force F. We know that the mass is 800 kilograms. We know the linear velocity is 30 meters per second and the radius is 100 meters. So writing down our equation now for centripetal force, we have F equals mv squared over R, and substituting in the numbers, this equals 800 times 30 squared divided by 100, which is equal to 7,200 newtons. Now notice that we could have done this part B a bit quicker using F equals ma, because remember centripetal force is just the equation for centripetal acceleration multiplied by the mass. So we could have used our answer from part A and just multiplied it by the mass 800. Question 2 says that a rubber bung with a mass of 0.05 kilograms is swung around a central point. The circular path of the bung has a radius of 0.02 meters and an angular velocity of 25.0 radians per second. Part A says to calculate the centripetal acceleration of the bung. So writing down what we know from the question, we're trying to find the centripetal acceleration. We know that the radius is 0.02 meters, and we have that the angular velocity omega is 25.0 radians per second. So writing down our equation for centripetal acceleration, we have AR equals R omega squared. Notice that this time we've written the radial acceleration in the form of the angular velocity rather than the linear velocity. So we have AR equals R omega squared, and substituting in the numbers, we have 0.02 times 25.0 squared. Don't forget to square that term there, and this equals 12.5 meters per second squared. Part B says to find the centripetal force acting on the bung. So writing down what we know from the question, we're trying to find the force. We know that the mass is 0.05 kilograms, the radius is 0.02 meters, and angular velocity omega is 25.0 radians per second. So writing down our equation now for the centripetal force in terms of the angular velocity omega, this is F equals mr omega squared, which is equal to 0.05 times 0.02 times 25.0 squared once you put your numbers in, and if you put that into your calculator, you should get an answer of 0.60 newtons. Notice that just like in question 1, we could have also used F equals ma here and multiplied our answer to part A by the mass to find the same answer of 0.60 newtons. Part C says what will happen if the string holding the bung is cut. Well, the bung will continue in a straight line perpendicular to the circle in its direction of travel at that instant. It will travel with a velocity equal to its linear velocity at that time. Question 3 says that the regulator on a steam engine has 2 balls which move in or out with the speed of the engine. They are connected by a rod to a lever which controls the speed of the engine and keeps it constant as the load on the engine changes. A regulator ball follows a circular path of radius 0.15 meters with an angular velocity of 12.0 radians per second. So there's the 2 balls there, and to look at one ball in more detail, we've got a diagram here with the angle theta there, 0.5 kilogram mass here for the ball, and the radius of 0.15 meters. And you'll see that the ball is tracing out a circular motion, a circular path there. Part A says to calculate the centripetal force acting on the ball if its mass is 0.5 kilograms. So writing down what we know from the question, we're trying to find the force F. We know that the mass is 0.5 kilograms. We know that the radius is 0.15 meters, and the angular velocity omega is 12.0 radians per second. So writing down our equation for the centripetal force in terms of the angular velocity omega, we have F equals mr omega squared, which is equal to 0.5 times 0.15 times 12.0 squared once you put your numbers in, and putting that into your calculator should give you an answer of 10.8 newtons. Part B says to calculate the angle theta of the rod to the vertical. So to do this, it helps to draw a sketch similar to the one we got given in the question. So consider the forces acting on one ball first of all. So if we draw a sketch, draw a triangle for the forces, and there's our ball there. There will be a component of weight downwards, which is mg, and we'll have a centripetal force horizontally called F, which is maintaining that circular motion of the ball. and we can put in some angles. So we've got a right angled triangle, and we've also got our angle theta, which the rod makes with the vertical. So using SOHCAHTOA now to find this angle theta, we can use tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. So we'll have tan theta equals opposite over adjacent equals the force F divided by mg, which is equal to our answer to part A there, the centripetal force of 10.8, divided by m times g, which is 0.5 times 9.8 because we're on Earth, and this is equal to 2.2 once you put that into your calculator. Now we need to find theta from the inverse of tan, or shift tan on your calculator. So theta equals tan to the minus 1 of 2.2, which gives an answer of 65.6 degrees. Part C says, what effect would a decrease in the angular velocity of the balls have on the angle theta? Well, the angle theta would decrease since the centripetal force is dependent on the angular velocity, which also decreases. And we saw that the angle theta was directly proportional to the centripetal force because it was on the numerator of the fraction. So if the centripetal force decreases because the angular velocity decreases, then the angle theta would also have to decrease. Lastly, question 4 says to find the minimum speed at the top of a loop-the-loop for a car to just get around and not leave the track. The track radius is 4 meters. Well, firstly we need to realise that the car on a track can be treated similar to a bung on a string, just like the one in question 2. We should also note here that the only two forces acting will be the centripetal force and weight when the car is at the top of the loop, so no horizontal forces at this point. We also need to know that at the critical point where the car just gets around the track, tension will be 0, and we can come up with an expression for the tension of the car at the top of the loop, and this would look something like this. So we've got T equals mv squared over r minus mg, where T is our tension, mv squared over r is our centripetal force, and mg is our weight. And the reason it looks like this is because it's basically just an unbalanced force. So we're saying that the tension, which is an unbalanced force, is equal to the centripetal force minus the weight of the car. Now because we've said that tension is 0, we can substitute in 0 here and we get 0 equals mv squared over r minus mg. We then need to add mg to both sides, so we get mg equals mv squared over r, and you'll notice we have m on both sides, so we can cancel the m's on both sides, and this gives us a simpler equation of g equals v squared over r. Now remember, we're trying to find the minimum speed, so we need to rearrange for v squared, and doing that we have v squared equals g times r, and then we need to square root the left hand side to find v on its own. So we have that v equals root g times r, which equals root 9.8 times 4 because we're still on Earth, so g is 9.8, and the radius was 4 meters, and this equals 6.26 meters per second once you put it into your calculator. That's all for now, folks. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, give it one of these, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.